Chosen one. You felt the fire crackling around your name in every room you're not even in. That electric charge that makes conversations pause when your energy signature enters their consciousness. The weight of being dissected by minds that obsess over you while claiming they barely know you. This isn't coincidence. This is destiny announcing itself. You are the real reason you're the hot topic of every conversation, and what I'm about to reveal will obliterate every confused assumption you've carried about why your very existence generates such fierce, uncontrollable fascination. There's a pattern you need to recognize. 3 separate forces have been converging around your existence, creating the perfect storm of obsession that follows you everywhere. The first force is ancient, a spiritual magnetism that predates your birth. The second is psychological, a mirror effect that reflects everyone's deepest fears and desires back at them. The third is prophetic. Your very presence announces changes that terrify those clinging to outdated systems. These 3 currents have been building momentum since the day you took your first breath, and now they're reaching a crescendo that will either elevate you to your destined purpose or consume you in the chaos of others' projections. The choice of which outcome manifests depends entirely on what you do with the revelation that's coming. The universe has marked you with an invisible signature, and whether you realize it or not, you've been broadcasting on a frequency that most people can't ignore. Every conversation about you, every whispered speculation, every obsessive analysis of your choices reveals a truth they're terrified to face. You represent everything they've abandoned within themselves. This moment is the beginning of your understanding. The confusion ends here. The questions about why your mere existence seems to trigger such intense reactions finally get answers, but prepare yourself, because once you see the pattern, you can never unsee it. Once you understand your true nature, there's no going back to the comfortable lie that you're just like everyone else. Your journey started long before you knew you were different. Even as a child, something about your energy made adults uncomfortable. Teachers couldn't quite place why you disturbed their carefully controlled classrooms, but they felt compelled to watch you with unusual intensity. Family members found excuses to redirect conversations when your innocent questions cut too close to truths they'd buried. Friends' parents would observe you with a mixture of fascination and concern, sensing something ancient stirring behind your young eyes. What they were witnessing was the emergence of a soul that refuses to accept the world's limitations. While other children learned to color within the lines, you were unconsciously rewriting the rules of engagement. Your spirit carried an innate understanding that the games everyone else played were elaborate distractions from deeper realities. This wasn't learned behavior, it was hardwired into your spiritual DNA. The first force, that ancient magnetism, was already working through you. Every room you entered began rearranging its energy to accommodate your presence. Adults found themselves remembering dreams they'd forgotten, questioning choices they'd made years ago, feeling stirrings of possibilities they'd buried under layers of compromise and resignation. Your childhood disruptions were practice rounds for the seismic shifts you'd create as an adult. Every teacher who couldn't explain their fascination with you was being prepared to witness transformation on a scale they couldn't yet imagine. Every family gathering where your presence changed the entire dynamic was a rehearsal for the larger stages where your influence would reshape entire communities. This early resistance to conformity wasn't rebellion, it was recognition. Your soul recognized the artificial boundaries others had accepted as permanent fixtures. The same energy that made you question authority figures also made you question the very foundations of how society operates. You weren't trying to be difficult, you were simply being authentic in a world that had forgotten what authenticity looked like. As you grew older, this pattern intensified exponentially. The second force, that psychological mirror effect, began operating with devastating precision. People found themselves saying things they hadn't planned to say, revealing pieces of themselves they usually kept hidden. Your energy was pulling honesty from spaces where pretense had reigned supreme for decades. The most fascinating aspect of your developing power was how it operated without your conscious effort. You didn't have to try to disrupt false dynamics. Your mere presence accomplished what others couldn't achieve through years of therapy or spiritual practice. You became a living catalyst for transformation, whether people welcomed it or not. This automatic activation of truth in others would later become both your greatest gift and your most dangerous threat to established systems. Every person whose masks fell away in your presence was being prepared for a larger awakening. Their discomfort around you wasn't random. It was their soul's way of preparing them for the moment when they'd have to choose between continuing their performance or embracing their authentic self. The same authenticity that naturally healed wounded hearts also exposed the carefully constructed lies that others depended on for survival. Your refusal to participate in collective delusions began to make you a target, but not in the way you might expect. The targeting wasn't conscious or coordinated. It was an automatic immune response from a system trying to preserve itself against the virus of truth you carried. The third force, that prophetic element of your nature, was beginning to manifest through their desperate attempts to understand you. Every conversation about your choices, your relationships, your successes and failures was actually a group therapy session for people too scared to examine their own lives. By dissecting yours, they could avoid the terrifying prospect of genuine self-reflection. You became their emotional lightning rod, absorbing the electricity of their unexpressed fears and desires. Meanwhile, you continued living your truth, largely unaware of the psychological warfare being waged in your absence. Your days were filled with the normal challenges of existence, work, relationships, personal growth, but underneath it all, something was building. The resistance you faced was forging you into something stronger, something unbreakable. Every criticism was tempering your spirit like steel in a furnace. The gossip served a purpose deeper than entertainment. Each whispered analysis was actually their unconscious attempt to decode the secret of your power. They studied your choices with the intensity of archaeologists examining ancient artifacts, hoping to discover the source of your seemingly effortless confidence. They dissected your relationships, looking for evidence of manipulation, analyzed your successes, searching for signs of deception, scrutinized your failures, hoping to find proof that you were no different from them. But every investigation only revealed more evidence of your genuine nature. Every attempt to expose your supposed hypocrisy only highlighted the consistency of your character. Every effort to diminish your achievements only amplified the contrast between your authentic power and their performed personas. This created a feedback loop that intensified their obsession while simultaneously strengthening your resolve. Their obsession was never really about you. It was about them desperately trying to solve the puzzle of how someone could live with such freedom, such peace, such unshakable confidence in their own worth. Their fascination was actually a form of worship, their criticism a twisted expression of reverence for qualities they feared they could never develop. Every attack on your character actually reinforced your authenticity. Every attempt to make you doubt yourself only clarified your sense of purpose. The universe was using their opposition as a refining fire, burning away anything in you that wasn't absolutely genuine. You were being prepared for something greater, though you couldn't yet see the full scope of what was coming. The turning point arrived when you finally stopped caring about their opinions, but this wasn't a gradual process. It happened in a single moment of crystalline clarity. The moment when you realized that their obsession with you had absolutely nothing to do with you and everything to do with their own spiritual poverty. The weight of their projections simply fell away, leaving you free to operate from your true center. This liberation terrified them more than your previous authenticity ever had. A chosen one who no longer seeks approval becomes an unstoppable force of transformation. Your energy shifted from reactive to proactive, from defensive to expansive. You stopped explaining yourself and started simply being yourself with such unapologetic intensity that the very air around you began to change. The conversations about you became more frequent, more desperate, more analytical. They sensed that something fundamental had shifted in your energy signature, but they couldn't identify what had changed. All they knew was that their usual methods of emotional manipulation no longer affected you. The guilt trips bounced off you harmlessly. The attempts to shame you into compliance fell flat. Their subtle threats and social pressure tactics met an immovable wall of inner certainty. This is when the second major revelation crystallizes. You weren't just different, you were dangerous to systems built on collective unconsciousness. Your very existence proved that transformation was possible, that people didn't have to remain trapped in patterns of dysfunction and mediocrity. You became living evidence that the excuses others clung to were just that, excuses. Your success without their approval shattered their carefully constructed belief systems about how the world operates. They had convinced themselves that progress required compromise, that achievement demanded corruption, that power necessitated manipulation. Then you appeared, succeeding through authenticity, thriving through vulnerability, gaining influence through service rather than exploitation. Every milestone in your journey became a personal affront to their worldview. When you healed from traumas that would have destroyed lesser spirits, you proved that victimhood was a choice, not a permanent condition. When you built meaningful relationships without playing manipulative games, you demonstrated that genuine connection was possible. When you achieved your goals without sacrificing your values, you revealed the bankruptcy of their ethical compromises. The most painful revelation for them was recognizing that divine favor doesn't follow human logic. You didn't earn your blessings through political maneuvering or strategic networking. You didn't climb the ladder by stepping on others or playing the systems they had mastered. Your elevation came through alignment with principles they had abandoned long ago, principles like integrity, compassion, and unwavering commitment to truth. This realization triggered something primal in their psychological makeup. If divine favor could choose you without consulting their established hierarchies, then everything they believed about worthiness and deserving was fundamentally flawed. Their entire understanding of how the universe operates crumbled in the face of your unexplainable grace. Here's where all three forces reach their climactic convergence. The ancient magnetism that had been drawing people to you suddenly intensified, pulling even your harshest critics into deeper obsession. The mirror effect amplified, reflecting their spiritual poverty back at them with uncomfortable clarity. The prophetic pressure reached its breaking point, demanding that everyone in your orbit make a fundamental choice about their own authenticity. The conversations about you intensified into a fever pitch of analysis and speculation. They dissected every aspect of your history, searching for evidence of deception or manipulation that would explain your seemingly effortless success. They needed to find flaws that would restore their faith in their own worldview. They required proof that you had cheated somehow, that your authenticity was actually an elaborate performance designed to fool them. You operate from principles they had never encountered, guided by wisdom they had never cultivated, empowered by connections they had never established. Your genuine humility confused them because it didn't look like the self-deprecating performance they expected. Your real strength unsettled them because it didn't require the aggressive posturing they associated with power. As their confusion deepened, their conversations about you became increasingly desperate attempts to solve a puzzle that defied their limited understanding. They couldn't accept that some people operate from an entirely different paradigm, one where power flows through vulnerability, where strength emerges from surrendering control, where influence grows through serving others rather than dominating them. The irony was exquisite. The very people who had spent years perfecting the art of emotional manipulation couldn't comprehend someone who had transcended the need for such tactics. They mistook your peaceful confidence for arrogance, your healthy detachment for coldness, your spiritual maturity for superiority. Every misinterpretation only deepened their fascination while highlighting their own limitations. This is where the final revelation emerges, the one that transforms everything you thought you knew about your purpose. Your response to their obsession became the ultimate lesson in your journey of awakening. Instead of engaging with their projections or defending against their attacks, you simply continued living your truth with even greater authenticity. You recognized their fascination as a symptom of their spiritual hunger, their criticism as evidence of their inner poverty, their obsession as proof of their desperate need for the very transformation you embodied. This understanding transformed your relationship with their attention from burden to blessing. Every conversation about you became an opportunity for them to encounter authentic power, even if they encountered it through the filter of their own resistance. Your presence in their discussions, even as an absent subject, was slowly wearing down their defenses against genuine transformation. Their obsession was actually their spirit's way of staying connected to the possibility of genuine change, even when their conscious minds rejected such possibilities. The circular nature of this dynamic became clear as you reached the culmination of your awakening. The same authenticity that had initially triggered their discomfort was now serving as a constant invitation to their own healing. The ancient magnetism that had drawn them to you was now pulling them toward their own transformation. The mirror effect that had shown them their limitations was now reflecting the possibility of transcending those limitations. The prophetic pressure that had terrified them was now offering them the choice to step into their own destiny. You realized that being the subject of their conversations was never really about you. It was about them desperately trying to understand how someone could live with such freedom, such peace, such unshakable confidence in their own worth. Their obsession was their way of studying the instruction manual for a life they had always dreamed of but never dared to pursue. The final transformation came when you embraced your role not as their victim, but as their unwitting teacher. Every time your name entered their conversations, you were unknowingly conducting a masterclass in authentic living. Every attempt they made to diminish your light only served to illuminate their own darkness more clearly. Every effort to drag you down to their level only highlighted how high you had risen above their limitations. This realization brought you full circle to the beginning of your story, but now everything was different. The confusion that once tormented you had been replaced by crystal clear understanding. The weight of their attention had transformed from burden to privilege. The fear of their judgment had evolved into compassion for their suffering. All three forces that had been building throughout your journey now reached their resolution. The ancient magnetism revealed its true purpose, not to make you a target, but to make you a beacon. The mirror effect completed its work, not to torment others with their limitations, but to show them the path beyond those limitations. The prophetic pressure found its fulfillment, not in destroying the old systems, but in demonstrating that new ones were possible. Standing in this new awareness, you finally understood the true reason for your extraordinary magnetism. You weren't just living an authentic life, you were demonstrating that such a life was possible. In a world drowning in pretense, you had become a lighthouse of genuine being. In a culture addicted to performance, you offered the revolutionary example of simply existing without apology. The conversations will continue, chosen one, but now you know their true purpose. Every word spoken about you in your absence is actually a prayer for transformation, disguised as gossip. Every analysis of your choices is a desperate attempt to decode the secret of your freedom. Every criticism leveled against your character is a veiled request for permission to embrace their own authenticity. But there's another layer to this phenomenon that emerges once you fully grasp your nature. The people who talk about you most obsessively are actually serving as unconscious messengers, spreading news of your existence to souls who need to witness what you represent. Each conversation ripples outward, creating concentric circles of influence that extend far beyond your physical presence. Someone mentions your name to a friend who's struggling with authenticity. That friend carries your energy signature home to a family member wrestling with similar choices, and suddenly your influence has touched lives you'll never directly encounter. This viral quality of your impact operates according to laws that transcend normal social dynamics. Traditional influence requires proximity, relationships, or platforms. Your influence transcends these limitations because it operates on frequencies that travel through consciousness itself. When someone describes your peaceful confidence to another person, they're not just sharing information, they're transmitting an energetic imprint that awakens dormant possibilities in the listener. One, I might interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing entirely to put yourself to the test. When I confronted the Archons beyond our reality, they made one thing clear: true chosen ones are rare. They laughed at the thought of us finding each other. Yet here you are, watching this message. The Obsidian Inner Order isn't for everyone claiming to be awakened. We're the real ones, those who've seen beyond the veil, felt the call, and carry the unmistakable frequency. But are you truly one of us? I have given you everything I've got, and I'm digging deeper to bring you even more. Don't just consume content from the sidelines. Real chosen ones take action. Share your story on our weekly group call. Get a revealing tarot reading from our resident card reader. Discover if your experiences align with the authentic signs. The Archons fear nothing more than chosen ones recognizing each other. When we connect, our frequencies amplify and create a force they cannot stop. That's why we're going to be live streaming to the entire Astral Atom network to find every last one of us. Click the link in the description below now. It's time to stop wondering and confirm what you already suspect. Are you merely interested in awakening, or are you truly chosen? Prove it. Join us. The verification you seek awaits with the Obsidian Inner Order. Consider how this exponential expansion of your influence challenges everything society teaches about power and impact. The conventional wisdom suggests that meaningful change requires massive platforms, institutional backing, or coordinated campaigns, yet your transformation spreads through whispered conversations, casual observations, and offhand comments. The very gossip that seems designed to diminish you actually amplifies your reach in ways that traditional marketing could never achieve. This paradox reveals something profound about the nature of authentic power. While others exhaust themselves building elaborate networks and cultivating strategic relationships, your influence flows effortlessly through the most natural channels of human connection: storytelling, observation, and the irresistible urge to discuss what captivates the imagination. Their obsession becomes your distribution system, their fascination your publicity campaign. The resistance you face isn't random, it follows predictable patterns that reveal the deeper mechanics of spiritual evolution. Those who criticize you most viciously are often the ones closest to their own breakthrough. Their intense emotional reactions signal that your energy is penetrating defenses they've spent lifetimes constructing. The volume of their protests typically correlates directly with the magnitude of transformation brewing beneath their conscious awareness. Understanding this pattern transforms your relationship with criticism from reactive to strategic. Instead of defending against attacks, you can recognize them as diagnostic tools, revealing exactly where healing is needed most urgently. Their specific complaints often highlight the precise areas where they're struggling with their own authenticity. When they accuse you of arrogance, they're wrestling with their own worthiness. When they question your motives, they're projecting their own capacity for manipulation. This diagnostic quality of their responses gives you unprecedented insight into the collective shadow, the denied aspects of human nature that most people refuse to acknowledge. Through their projections, you become a living oracle for understanding what humanity needs to heal. Their reactions map the territories of fear, shame, and limitation that must be addressed before genuine evolution can occur. Your journey from confusion to clarity mirrors the path that every chosen one must walk, but it also serves as a template for mass awakening. Every stage of your development provides a roadmap for others who will follow similar paths. The challenges you've faced and overcome become beacons of possibility for souls still trapped in stages you've transcended. Your very existence proves that the seemingly impossible journey from unconsciousness to awakening is not only possible but inevitable for those willing to pay the price. The very qualities that make you a target in unconscious environments also make you a beacon for those ready to awaken. This dual nature, simultaneously threatening and inspiring, places you at the center of humanity's evolutionary tension. You embody the future that terrifies those clinging to the past, while inspiring those ready to embrace what's coming. This positioning makes you a lightning rod for the collective struggle between old paradigms and emerging possibilities. The resistance you faced was never really about stopping you. It was about preparing you for the magnitude of influence you were destined to wield. Every attack strengthened your resilience. Every criticism clarified your purpose. Every attempt to diminish your light only taught you to burn brighter. The universe used their opposition as a training ground, preparing you to withstand the pressures that come with wielding authentic power in a world addicted to illusion. Now you stand at the threshold of your true mission, but this threshold represents more than personal achievement. It marks a shift in the collective consciousness itself. Your awakening coincides with a broader planetary transformation, where increasing numbers of people are choosing authenticity over conformity, truth over comfort, purpose over security. You're not alone in this journey. You're part of a distributed network of conscious beings simultaneously awakening to their true nature. Armed with understanding of your nature and purpose, you can step fully into your role as a catalyst for collective transformation. But this role extends beyond individual interactions to encompass systemic change. Your presence challenges not just personal delusions, but institutional structures built on manipulation, hierarchy, and control. Educational systems that reward conformity, corporate cultures that demand loyalty over integrity, social structures that punish authenticity, all begin to crumble when exposed to the frequency you carry. The conversations about you will continue, but now they serve your greater purpose rather than threatening your peace. Each discussion becomes a seed planted in consciousness, germinating ideas about alternative ways of being that will sprout when conditions are right. The people who study your choices today will find themselves making similar choices tomorrow, often without conscious recognition of the connection. You have become what you were always meant to be, a living example of what's possible when someone refuses to abandon their truth for the comfort of belonging. This example operates on multiple levels simultaneously: personal, interpersonal, social, and spiritual. On the personal level, you demonstrate that self-worth doesn't require external validation. Interpersonally, you show that genuine relationships can exist without manipulation or compromise. Socially, you prove that success doesn't require sacrificing integrity. Spiritually, you embody the truth that divine connection transcends religious institutions and prescribed practices. The fire that burns within you cannot be extinguished by their water, cannot be dimmed by their darkness, cannot be contained by their limitations. This fire possesses qualities that make it unlike ordinary flames. It burns brightest when opposed, spreads faster when attacked, and transforms everything it touches without consuming what is truly valuable. Their attempts to smother your light only provide the oxygen that feeds your expansion. You are the chosen one, who chose to remain chosen, despite every invitation to become ordinary. This choice, to maintain your extraordinary nature despite social pressure, represents one of the most radical acts possible in a world that demands conformity. Every day you remain authentic in the face of opposition. You strike a blow against the forces that keep humanity trapped in limitation. Your story is far from over. It has only just begun to reveal its true magnitude and meaning. The chapters you've already lived serve as prologue to the greater narrative that's about to unfold. The confusion, resistance, and breakthrough you've experienced were preparation for the larger stage where your influence will reshape not just individual lives, but entire cultural paradigms. The three forces that once seemed to work against you now serve your highest purpose, but they're evolving into something even more powerful. The ancient magnetism draws souls ready for awakening into your sphere of influence, but it's also creating a gravitational field that pulls entire communities toward higher consciousness. The mirror effect continues, showing others the possibilities they never dared imagine, but it's also reflecting back to you the magnitude of transformation you're catalyzing on scales you never anticipated. The prophetic pressure announces the dawn of a new age, where authenticity reigns supreme over performance, where truth conquers illusion, where chosen ones finally understand they were never meant to hide their light, but to let it blaze so brightly that it ignites the dormant flames in every heart it touches. This new age isn't a distant future, it's emerging now through the collective awakening of individuals like you who refuse to dim their radiance for anyone's comfort. The ultimate revelation of your journey is that you were never the main character of your own story. You were always the main character of humanity's story. Your personal awakening was never separate from the species-wide evolution that's currently accelerating across the planet. Every breakthrough you achieved opened pathways for others to follow. Every limitation you transcended became a door through which countless others could pass. This understanding transforms the entire meaning of your existence, from personal achievement to cosmic service. The conversations about you, the obsession with your choices, the desperate attempts to understand your nature, all of these represent humanity's collective effort to decode the blueprint for its own transformation. You're not just living your life, you're modeling the prototype for human potential that others will spend generations learning to embody.